Hello, Leschi Families. I am sharing this video with you to review or to present to you what are the arrival and dismissal procedures that we will have for in-person learning starting on Monday, April 5th. And so thank you for taking the time to watch this video. These procedures are going to be different from how you dropped off your students and picked them up from Leschi in previous school years. And the reason why it's going to be a little different is because we need to follow our health and safety protocols, physical distancing guidelines, as well as we want to make sure that we have accounted for every single student at arrival and dismissal. And we need to make sure that we are prioritizing staff, student, and family member safety as well. And so I'm going to have just a brief video and a few PowerPoint slides that I'll be showing you. And I also be sending these slides to you so you'll have a chance to review them on your own time. But thank you again for viewing this video, for looking at the procedures and getting an understanding of what they're going to be before we start in-person learning on April 5th. So a few important reminders. So family members and parents are not allowed on the playground during arrival and dismissal. So family members and parents are expected to stay on 31st Avenue and not go down the stairs to the playground. And I'll show you a picture in just a minute. So we must continue to follow physical distancing guidelines of 6 feet of separation from others not in your family or home unit. And I just want to say that these changes are going to take some time. It's going to be slower for arrival and dismissal procedures, especially next week. It's going to be a lot slower when we first get started, but the quicker we all learn the procedures and if we need to make little adjustments here and there, the quicker it will go for everyone. And there's a few things that you can do to make sure that it will go a lot quicker for you and your students. So every morning, if you have students that will be learning in person at Leschi, you will receive an email to your email that's on file at the school, and you'll receive an email about attestation. And attestation is a way to confirm or to check whether your child has symptoms that are similar to COVID symptoms. And so it's a way to ask families about does your child have any symptoms that are related to COVID? And if not, then they are approved to enter our school building. If they do have symptoms, then they will not be approved, and your child will just connect remotely with their teacher. So you'll get an email every morning. My email shows up at about 5:30 in the morning, and by 7 a.m., if your child's going to be in the building, please complete that attestation form. There'll be a link in the email to the survey. It takes about 30 seconds. So please get that done. And the reason why we need it done by 7 a.m. or if you're in the afternoon in-person session by 10 a.m. Because it does take time for that information that you enter in the survey and the attestation form to transfer over to our system. And then if families complete that attestation in advance, then you will experience less wait times. So the families that have completed attestation, it's going to be a fairly easy process to arrive and have your student get to their classroom when they arrive at Leschi. Now, families who have not completed an attestation form, it could be for a few reasons. One could be you might have forgotten. It's okay. We're going to have paper copies of the attestation available. Another reason could be your email address that we have on file at the school could be incorrect. And if that's the case, then we'll have to update your email if you're not receiving those attestation emails. Families on that email, you also get the option at the end of each survey to change how you get that attestation form. And so you can receive that attestation by text message if you would like. and you'll get that option at the end of those attestation survey. Now, students who are walking on their own and they don't have a family member present who can complete the attestation for them, they're going to go to the lunchroom and wait until the office can call the student's contacts and confirm attestation. So that means if you don't complete attestation and your child is walking to school on their own, yeah, if they don't have it done, then they'll go to the lunchroom and wait, and our office staff will call you every day that that situation happens where the attestation hasn't been completed and they're walking on their own. And then the office staff will actually ask all the attestation questions with you on the phone. We have to do that before students can be in the classroom. And so that means that students would wait in the lunchroom potentially for a long time if we can't get a hold of you or we can't get that attestation completed. And we'll do our best to make sure that we call all of the contacts on your student's contact list if we can't get a hold of the primary contacts. So attestation must be completed for every student that you have at Leschi. If you have 3 students at Leschi, you have to complete 3 attestations each morning. I know that it's an extra step. It might take time, and it's something that can be easily forgotten if you don't complete it when you get it in the morning or by 7 a.m. But please remember to do this. Again, the wait time will be less if for families that complete it in advance. Now, here's just an example. This is like an example of the email that I get. And so there's a few parts that are kind of, redacted here because it's for staff members, but you're going to get something similar. It's going to have a link in which you click on that link and it will take you to the form, and it asks you questions about the school, which school you're going to go to. Well, this is for staff, so it might be different for students, but it asks about symptoms. Does your child have any of the following symptoms? The very last option is none of the above. So if your child does not have any symptoms, you click the last option, none of the above, click next. And then there's a few more questions about, has a health professional told you to quarantine? Have you been in close contact with someone who's tested positive for COVID-19? And if you answer none of the above to those questions, that's the bottom option, then you click next, and then you'll see an approved sign for entering our school. So there's the link here. You can also copy and paste the other link into a browser if needed. Now the family drop-off area is going to be on 31st Avenue. So this picture here is where families are going to be if you're dropping off a student. This is either at 8 a.m. Or at 11:45 a.m. Now families, you can drop off as early as 7:45 a.m. if you're in the morning session, or as early as 11:30 a.m. if you're in the afternoon in-person session. I'll make sure that's included in the message I send out. But families, please stay up on 31st Avenue. And I do apologize in advance that we can't have families go onto the playground. We need to make sure that we account for every student and confirm that they've completed attestation before they get to our school building, before they go on the playground. And we can't have students on the playground playing and milling about, because then we won't know who's completed attestation or not. So thank you for your understanding and your patience for for following that. You're going to stay on 31st Avenue. The kindergarten first grade families, I know you might want to be with your child when they walk down the stairs and get directed and led to a specific entrance to the building. We are going to do our best to be so welcoming and positive to your students, to families, and to make it a really positive experience. And thank you in advance for your understanding for that. So the procedures are, families who are walking are going to walk up to this area here, right at the end of the fence between the reader board and the top of the stairs leading to the playground. If you're driving in a car, you're going to drive along the curbside that is closest to the school, and you're going to pull up as far as you can up to Spruce Street. We're going to have staff all the way at the corner on Spruce and 31st, confirming attestation, getting that information from you if you're driving in your car. So that means students, please do not get out of the car until a staff member has confirmed attestation. And if you're walking, students don't go onto the playground until a staff member has confirmed attestation. That's all going to be done here on 31st. This is going to take a while next week. Thank you for your patience in advance. A staff member will greet you, ask you for your student's name and grade. You'll tell them the name and grade. We'll check our list to see if attestation's already been completed. If it hasn't, we'll hand you a clipboard with a paper attestation form. You will fill it out. And then if you've answered no to those questions of COVID symptoms, if your child does not have COVID-like symptoms, then they're allowed to go onto the playground. A staff member will lead them to the entrance for their classroom. So this is going to be the Cohort A entrance, and we're saying red, and we'll put a big red piece of paper or something around the border of that, the doorway there. And this will be for Miss Bolster's in-person class, Miss Valdez, our additional 5th grade class in the morning, Miss Bomani, and Mr. Lalongo's classes. So those classes are Cohort A, or the red entrance. Cohort B will be using the green entrance. This is the north side entrance near where the play structure used to be. This is the doorway facing Spruce Street. And Cohort B, the green entrance, is going to be for students in Miss Woods' class, Miss RT, Miss Chowkenbong, Miss Brandon, and Miss Blackwell's classes. So those in-person students will be using this entrance, and we will have staff members leading them from 31st Avenue to this door. So families, do not bring your student directly to this door. We will have staff members greet you and confirm attestation on 31st Avenue only. Spruce Street is going to be used for bus riders to be dropped off and picked up. So that is not where family drop-off is going to be. And Cohort C, the blue entrance, is going to be for Mr. Garcia's class, Miss Snyder, Miss Duell, Mr. Partridge, and Miss Koyama's classes. So those classes will be using the Cohort C entrance, which is the playground entrance. That's the doorway from the playground into the building. Once students get to those entrances, there will be a staff member at a table that will have hand sanitizer and masks, and staff will give students a quick squirt of hand sanitizer, check to make sure that the student's mask is covering their nose and under their chin. And if a student does not have a suitable mask, then one will be handed to them and will help them fit that mask. And then students will be directed to go and stand or sit. If it's early enough and students want to, that's okay, to stand or sit on a dot or a piece of tape that will be on the floor outside their classroom in the hallway. And they'll be waiting there until school starts. Now, dismissal. The family pickup procedures. This is going to be very different than how you've experienced dismissal or picking up your child from Leschi in the past. So we're going to use the same area. It is 31st Avenue. And the procedures are going to be family members. You're going to walk up here to the top of the stairs between the reader board and the stairs to the playground. And families, if you're driving, you need to be driving along the curbside that is closest to the school on 31st Avenue. Please pull up all the way that you can up to Spruce Street. We will have staff members that will be asking for your student's name and teacher name, and you'll tell us students' names, teacher names, if you have multiple students at Leschi, and then staff will be using our walkie-talkies to radio to other staff that will be gathered with students that will be lined up on the playground, and then they will send students up to 31st when families arrive and when staff tell the supervisors down on the playground that a student's family has arrived. Now, I do want to say there's different procedures for bus riders or students who walk on their own or students who are in childcare, and I'll review that in just a minute. But again, during dismissal procedures, families do not go onto the playground. We need to make sure that we are going to be physically distant, and it is so important that we need to make sure that everybody's safety is the most important thing that we are making sure is really accounted for during the dismissal procedure. And so families don't go onto the playground. Students will be brought up when you are here to pick them up. Again, this process is going to take time. Thank you for your grace and patience in advance. So students who are riding the bus or in a car or taxi service, and students who go to childcare, whether it be Launch or CAYA or another childcare that's going to pick up at Leschi, those students are going to be picked up from classes before dismissal, a few minutes before dismissal. And so, and students who are walking on their own, they will all be picked up before dismissal. We will dismiss them in an orderly fashion and make sure that those students are getting where they need to go. For all other students who are getting picked up by family members or older siblings or others, teachers will be walking the class out to the playground and will line up the students based on assigned locations. Staff will get names. So the staff who are on 31st Avenue will get names of students and radio to request those students to walk up to 31st Avenue, get in their cars or meet their parent, and then walk home. Teachers will be using a checklist to record how students were picked up. This is so important. We need to make sure that we know how every student was picked up or dismissed, and then the office will get that information so that if anybody calls the office asking where their child is or how they were picked up, that we have that information for you to give you peace of mind. And so that is something that we are putting in place to make sure that everyone's safety is accounted for and every student is accounted for at dismissal time. Now, students who are not picked up by 11:55, or sorry, that should be 10:55 or 2:40. We're going to have those students go to the play court and the lunchroom and wait until families arrive, and we'll have office staff call families to come pick up. Please try to be on time for pickup, especially for the morning session, because we have an afternoon session that will be coming soon after the dismissal time for the AM session. A few quick reminders. I know there might have been other procedures that you have experienced or saw at Leschi in the past. Things are going to be changing. Cars that are picking up students must be parked on the school side of 31st Avenue. If you are parked across the street, we are not going to release your student to you until you are parked on the school side of 31st Avenue. We need to prioritize student and staff safety, and we will not have any students crossing 31st Avenue to get into cars. So I just want to make sure everybody understands. If you are parked on the opposite side of 31st Avenue, we're not going to have your student get across the street to your car. You're going to be expected to drive around and then drive onto the school side of 31st Avenue. This process is going to take time, like I said. In the beginning, next week, it's going to take a lot of time. Thank you for your patience. But once everyone knows the procedures, what we've heard from other schools who have been in person for months or even the whole school year, when everyone learns the procedures, it goes really fast. And it's something that can be done really quickly if everyone follows the directions and the procedures. So again, thank you for your understanding and your patience and your grace. I'll be sending this video as well as directions out to you. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you for your time again. And we are so excited to have students returning in person to school and to continue remote learning for some students. So thank you so much for your support for our school and our school community. And I hope you have a nice day.